Welcome to the Darksomnium. This story is by the Reddit user Traveling Salesman, titled, "My son lives inside of mirrors." Someone once told me that happiness cannot exist without sorrow. That sorrow carves into our being like knives carve a cup for wine. We can only hold so much joy as sorrow is carved into our soul. But sorrow has carved out my entire soul. Yesterday took everything from me, and no one understands what happened. My wife and I had a little baby boy 6 years ago, and he was the light of our lives, a bubbling cherub of happiness. Rarely would he cry, but my dad antics would always elicit the giggles from him and put a spark back into his eye. As he grew older, however, things began to get strange. He was happy less, and yet never sad. He was a straight line of emotion, and no Christmas present ever got more from him than a feeble smile. I traveled for work, and my wife would always call and tell me of their day, about the small adventures they went on, but the child never smiled. He would disappear into his room for a long time, simply staring out the window, or into the mirror. My wife would sneak up on him sometimes, since he was being too quiet for a little boy, to see what he was up to. Always, he was staring out the window, a vacant stare on his face, and he read from time to time, better than most at such a young age. It made me proud, but the staring was odd. It troubled my wife greatly, especially when she would walk in on him facing the mirror, one hand on the glass, staring at his own eyes. He rarely spoke. "Dead eyes, Jerry. He just stares and stares. It bothers me." She would start to cry. She couldn't understand why he didn't make any friends or want to go outside. "Make him go play outside. Push his butt out the door and get him into the sun." I did. I found him staring into the house through the side window. It scared the shit out of me. Even on the playground, he just stared off into space, sitting. Teacher tells me that he likes to stare into the windows by the playground, staring inside. Jerry, I don't know why he's so weird. Nothing on Google explained why he loved to stare into mirrors and through windows. It wore my wife's nerves down. The last time I came home for a few days, a scream woke me up in the dead of a dark night. I grabbed my gun, thinking it was a home invader, only to find my wife, sobbing, outside of our son's room. He was unfazed, simply gazing at himself in the mirror. "Honey, what's wrong?" "This is just his face for now." "No, Jerry, you don't understand. The mirror, the mirror." She sobbed, sloppily, and snot ran down her face into her hands. The reflection in the mirror was smiling. Our son was not. After an initial chill, I scoffed. "Sweetheart, you need to get some rest." "She's right, Daddy." The boy inside the mirror smiles sometimes. I like to keep him company. He goes wherever I go, if he wants. Sometimes he stays at home, and he says he misses me. "Son, what do you mean? The mirror is your own reflection. If he smiles, it's because you're smiling." I tried to soothe my wife as I spoke to him, crouching on the floor eye level with him. "No, Daddy, this boy is different than me, even if he looks like me. Other kids called me creepy for talking about him, but he's there with me sometimes, watching me from the window." I had nothing to say in reply. I put him into bed. He stared at his window and hid his face from me. He was irritated because I didn't believe him. Imagination can play tricks on children, and those with their nerves worn to shreds. A week later, I was at a conference, and my wife blew up my phone. Call after call after call, so I ran outside to answer, obviously an emergency, and she was frantic. "Jerry, the kid is at school, but I saw him in the mirror. I saw him. Jerry, he isn't lying. I'm not imagining this. I swear to God I saw his reflection, and he smiled at me. I'm coming home now, Kate. I'll be on the next flight. Something was terribly wrong. I knew I had to get home before she hurt herself, or the kid. Several hours flew by, and I peeled into the driveway and threw myself into a run from the car, and I spilled into the house like a tornado. Kate, I'm home. Where are you? In here, Jerry. The house was dark. Curtains were drawn, but fluttering in the breeze. She had smashed all the windows in the house. I noticed a mirror in the hallway was smashed too. Kate? I called out softly. I was horrified. She had finally lost it, and this strange child was too much for her. I should have been there for her instead of working. I hate myself for not being there. I found her, sitting in front of the mirror in the child's room. An old mobile spun lazily on the ceiling. Where's our son, Kate? He's here, Jerry. Right here. She pointed at the mirror. I saw her sitting in the reflection, makeup running from her eyes. Our son was in her lap. I could see his face in the mirror. He was stoic. But then I saw her point to a part of the mirror. Standing behind me was our son, a world around to see nothing but blank space and shadows. Looking back again, the child was now in front of my reflection, holding her image's arms up. She had a gun to her head. I don't understand, she whispered, and blew her brains out. I had no time to react. Daddy, Mom didn't like me. A normal child would have screamed, but his face was like iron. Blood trickled down his cheek. I fell to the ground and began to sob. I was mortified. The other me told me that the world is different where he is. Everything is backwards. It sounds fun. I want to go. I know how to. Mommy almost got every mirror in the house, but this one. We stopped her. Want to come with me, Daddy? It will be like an adventure. And the next thing I knew, the child had a gun to his head too. The other child was behind him, hand on his shoulder, smiling with a grin of a Cheshire. All I remember is the gunshot. I blacked out. The police ruled it a murder-suicide. I couldn't have told them anything other than the normal story. No one would have believed me anyway. But now I sit in front of the mirror when I'm alone, in his old room, and they play together. They both smile, always smiling, finally happy. I think I'm going to join them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like my narrations, make sure to like and subscribe so I can spend more time creating music and narrations for you. Have a good day. Yeah, go to the bathroom. Ah, my head! Ah, dang it! Oh no. You're gross. Damn, this mirror's messy.